What's up, fuckers? It's your boy, back at you. Hey, let's move this over. How's the audio, guys? Can you hear me? I got shit in my beard already. Where's the chat at? Give me 1 second. I'm late? I don't know. Am I? I had to go resupply mine. The grocery store was on the other side of town. Well, I'm here in Bishop, California at the Looney Bean Cafe. Doing me an iced coffee. Hell yeah. Finished first stretch of this year. Kennedy Meadows to Bishop. It was about 7.5 days. It was gnarly, man. The snowpack is gnarly as hell, but we made it. Fire off the questions, man. Yo, your pics of the Sierras are amazing. Well, thank you, James. The camera's holding up, doing all right. Editing has a lot to do with that too, though. Smoke weed every day, 420. Well, I am in California, but I can't function on that shit. I don't like weed. There's a lot of marijuana use on the trail. Oh, it is 420. That's why I said it. Is it 420? Oh, no, it's the 26th. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Best editing on YouTube. Thank you. I'm learning every day, getting better. Still learning this shit, but I just updated my app, my software I use for editing, so they changed some shit around. It's gonna throw me off, but I'll have to learn it. It's not major changes, but you know, different system. I'm on the CDT made to Colorado. Well, good on you, man. The CDT's got more snow than the High Sierras right now, I think, or at least the same amount. It's fucking. You can't find the trail. The trail's under goddamn snow. Any plans to do a triple? From Tim Hortons, yeah. How's Forster Pass? Looked insane on Instagram. Yeah, it was scary as shit. I knew Forster Pass. I had my stomach was in knots for 2 days leading up to Forster, and then you start walking up towards it, and when you're like 3 miles out, I camped 3 miles out from Forster, and then walked the 3 miles to the base, or 2 miles to the base, and then a mile up. Left at 5 a.m. and as you're walking up in the dark, it's like it doesn't look that bad, but that's from 3 miles out. Once you get closer and closer and closer, it's like holy shit. And then you see the chute going across, and it's just ice steps, man. The ice steps were dug in pretty good, but still, it's a fucking drop off, man. If you take one bad step, you're down that shit. And I didn't look down the whole fucking time. Obviously, I looked down to my steps, but I didn't look down the fucking valley because I would have froze up. I'm not good with heights, but one foot in front of the other, we made it over slowly. It was scary though, I ain't gonna lie. Where are you now? I'm in Bishop, California. The next stretch we have coming up is to Mammoth Lakes. It's about 116 miles. I'm planning on carrying around 9 or 10 days worth of food, so my pack is gonna weigh a shit ton. There is a couple resorts on the way, but to send resupplies to these resorts, you have to send them in buckets because they have to carry them in on mules. You can't send them like typical resupply boxes and then charge up the ass to send these buckets. So I'm going to haul like 9, 10 days worth of food, try to make it to Mammoth. But those resorts also sell like snacks and shit. So if I have to get some extra food at those ranches, I will. But my pack is going to weigh a shit ton leaving Bishop here. And I have to go back over Kearsarge Pass. We had to go over Kearsarge Pass to get into Bishop. And the climb up Kearsarge is fucking stupid. So probably going to leave tomorrow afternoon out of Bishop, camp below the pass so I can hit it in the morning, because you have to hit these passes early on, like before the sun rises, or else once the sun hits the snow, it gets too soft and you're slipping everywhere, even with fucking crampons on. Have you gained or lost weight? I don't know. I haven't weighed myself at all since I started. I've been eating my ass off, though. I spent $17 at Taco Bell yesterday here in Bishop. And then I went to McDonald's. And then I went for ice cream. It was awesome. Yesterday was a good eating day, for sure. I'm going to go for pizza later, but I went to Denny's this morning for breakfast. I haven't been Denny's in probably 15, 20 years. Here's Rusty from Russia. How much water did you have normally in the desert? Cheers. My capacity was 5 liters in the desert, but I don't think I ever carried 5 liters because the water caches were good and the desert's been wet this year. So I hauled 4 liters quite a bit just because I was paranoid about dry camping and I wanted to have that water when I camped. But generally between 3 and 4 liters I carry at a time in the desert. In the Sierras, my capacity is only 2.5 liters, but I've only had to carry a liter at a time because there's just snow and water everywhere. And the snow is melting fucking fast, and the rivers are getting pretty damn gnarly. I think I'm more scared about the rivers coming up than the mountain passes. Did you know I used an ice axe before this year, or are you learning as you go? I'm learning as I go. I've never picked up an ice axe in my life. So I'm learning how to self-arrest. I practiced it a couple times. And then glissading down, which is actually pretty fun. You use your ice axe as a breaker. That's pretty fun. I've gotten pretty good at that. But yeah, I've never used an ice axe before. Or crampons. It's all fucking new to me. I've lived in the South too long. There's no snow to use that shit. So I've never had it. Are your feet wet and cold all day long? Not really. When you're hiking, your feet stay warm. Yeah, they're wet. But as long as you're moving, your feet stay warm. It's when you have to put the cold, wet boots on and socks in the morning. That's the rough part. But once you actually get walking, then they warm up good. Just make sure I keep my sleeping socks dry all the fucking time, my sleeping clothes, so I have something dry and warm to put on at night. I don't really care if my shit's wet. I mean, I dealt with that in the AT the whole time on the AT, so I'm used to my shit being wet. Any funny marmot stories? Yeah, the marmots are everywhere out here, and there's a camp spot. I posted a picture on Instagram next to a pond. I decided not to do Whitney. I know, spoiler alert. Instead, I had this killer camp spot just below Whitney. Anyway, I was sitting there camping, and there was like 3 marmots hanging on this rock right in front of my tent, and they didn't bother me. I was watching them the whole time. And then the following day, I went up and I was camped. No, this is the previous day. Chicken Spring Lake is where I was camping, and there was this log, right? And I got to camp. I'm sitting there by Chicken Spring Lake by myself for like 4 hours. And I'm watching this marmot come in and out of this log. And finally, I'm like, okay, I got to get a picture and video of this fucker. So I snapped a couple photos of him, right? Got right by the log, waiting for him to come out. Snapped a couple photos. And I saw he had something on his face. And I thought he was taking like material out of the log to build a house and shit. But then I got in my tent and started editing the photos, and I zoomed in on the photo, and he had infant marmots attached to his face, and he was carrying his kids out of the log and back to his house. It was pretty fucking cool. Marmots are cool though, man. I got a couple good pictures of marmots around here. Trekking poles you were using? I'm using the Lucky cork lights. I use those same poles on the AT. I like them. The cork handles are the keys because they so absorb sweat, especially in the desert. It helped out. If you get to like the rubber handles, your hands feel slimy, and I don't like that. The cork at least absorbs some sweat. Am I going to try to catch some fish? No, I haven't seen anybody carrying a fishing pole yet. I'm sure I will, but haven't seen anybody yet. I won't carry one. I'll stick with my fucking, tuna packets, and that's about as close as I get to fishing. I used to fish all the time growing up, but not on the trail. When I cross the chute, do you use your axe or just lean on the wall? I use my axe and my trekking pole. A lot of people just use their axes, but I don't feel comfortable on heights. I'm very skittish and I freeze up easily. So going over these passes and the chute, I would have my ice axe in one hand and I'd have my trekking pole in the other, so I could just help with balance. It's a peace of mind thing. The chute's not that. I mean, if you were to see the chute on flat ground, it's nothing. You just walk on the trail like that all day long, but because you're on an angle, it's a mental thing. I could walk that straight all day long, but when you put that vertical, drop on it, then something in my mind clicks, and I'm, skittish as hell. So I had the ice axe and the trekking pole. Got over just fine. I was nervous. Wait till you guys see the video of that. I got my camera mounted right here, right, my capture clip, and it's pointed down. So a lot of the filming I've been doing in the Sierras is I'll just leave my camera hanging and shoot down, so you get to see the downward view of when I'm going over Forster. It turned out pretty fucking good. It's scary. It was scary watching that, editing it. I was like reliving it. Yes, Forster was scary, man. I did not like it. I was relieved to get over that fucker. How do I rate the heat of the desert versus cold snow of the Sierras? Which do you prefer? When I was going through the desert, I couldn't wait to get to the Sierras and get the colder weather. Now that I'm in the Sierras, I wouldn't mind the desert heat again. It's just whatever you're in, you want the other one. The cold hasn't been that bad. It's just I don't know. It's the snow. It slows you down. I mean, you can only move so fast, and the trail is covered with snow. Like 2 days ago, I was you're on the trail maybe 50% of the day if you're lucky. You might get a dry stretch for like 50 feet, and then you get a 7 to 8 foot snowbank, and you have to route find all fucking day long. To go like 2 miles, it takes you fucking like 2 hours because you can't find the fucking trail. So moving through the snow is it's just slow and it's very not monotonous, but it's very hard to navigate out there. And even when you do get dry stretches of trail, this past winter it just blew down all the fucking trees. So you get a dry stretch, but there's a million trees that were knocked down from the snow over the winter. So you still have to go around those fuckers. It's been a pain in the ass. But we're moving slowly. I mean, it took me to go from Kennedy Meadows to Bishop. It took me fucking 7.5 days. That's only like 86 miles. Has the elevation affected me at all? No. I heard a couple people that went up Whitney and got sick from the elevation up there. It hasn't affected me at all. Just the height thing affects me. Like elevation sickness, I never got that yet. Do I have a target finish date? No. Well, I'd like to finish by the end of September, and I was kind of doing the math on that. I gave myself a month to get through the Sierras, if granted I get through, because the next section we have coming up is gnarly as fuck, river crossings and passes. But if I can get to the Sierras in a month, I have to average like 22 or 23 miles a day through Northern California, Oregon, and Washington, which is doable, especially when you hit Oregon. And I can finish by the end of September. I'd like to do that because I don't want to risk getting caught in a snowstorm up in Washington. So I'd rather, if I can, finish by the end of September. But once I get, to Northern California, I can start hauling ass pretty good. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. I got yelled at. App do you use to upload vids? What the hell is that? I use LumaFusion. I upload through YouTube, the YouTube app, but I use LumaFusion to edit. I did a whole video on that a while back. You can look back at my YouTube channel. Kicked out of any more Walmarts? No, just the two. I haven't been in Walmart since then. I'm over Walmart people here, at least here in California. I saw that coming. Yeah. How are you using your Peak Design clip with a mini tripod attached to your camera? My Peak Design clip just sits right on my shoulder strap, so I have a little plate on the bottom of my camera, and that just slides right into the plate, the clip. So my camera just sits there. My tripod, I have a who makes that tripod? I can't remember offhand now. Anyway, I have a little loop on my chest strap for my hyperlight pack, so I just slide my tripod right down in that loop, and that sits right there. So I look like a superhero. I got things like all across my chest, but it's been working out good. I don't feel that on my chest. Like, it doesn't bother me. How large of a group am I with? I've been bouncing, really. I'm still like hiking solo, really, but for like Forester and all the river crossings I've done so far, I've seen enough people on trail where I'll just kind of tag along with a group for the sketchy parts. I'd like to get in with an official group, trail family for the Sierras, but I just haven't found one. I've been hiking. I met a dude, a guy from Israel, at camp the other night, right after Forester, and we hiked into town together. We've been hanging out here in town, so I'll probably hike out with him tomorrow. He's a pretty good dude. There's enough people leaving town. I'm at a hostel right now. There's enough hikers leaving tomorrow that you just kind of get in with groups, because the rivers are pretty damn sketch. So I'm not doing that alone. What kind of gear do you need to change for cooking, eating? What kind of gear for cooking? I use a Toaks titanium pot, Toaks titanium spoon. I use the Crux Light stove. That's about it. Whatever fuel I can get my hands on. Still feeling any last effects from the heat exhaustion? It's no joke. Yeah, it's no joke. I like a week after the heat exhaustion thing, I felt like crap. And when I got to what was it, Tehachapi, I got sick. I had to take like a 000. I think that was from the heat exhaustion. I was never healed up. But yeah, I saw a lot. And that girl I put in the, I don't have it in the video, but it was in the next town. I was sitting in a deli, and the same thing. She came in like I did to the deli and passed out right on the floor. And she had been drinking water all morning, so that heat will get you, even when you're drinking water. It's just, you're exposed in that all day. What's it like being antisocial, still hiking with the others? I'm not antisocial. I'm pro-solitude, but the way I hike, or vlogging while I hike, all the walking away shots, I have to stop and set those up, and I do that 20 times a day. So to hike with a group, that kind of, it's a pain in the ass. So if I was to hike with a group, I would just kind of hang in the back, do my own thing, and so I could film, and then meet them up at the sketchy passes and do that, as a group. The way I hike and vlog, it isn't conducive to hiking with a group. Are you going to do Whitney, bro? I'm past Whitney, and I didn't do it. I got too scared, honestly. I was, getting freaked out about Forster and Whitney all in the same week, and they're back to back. And I got news that a dude died like 2 days before I got to Whitney. It wasn't a thru hiker, but he flew in just to do Whitney. He was going to fly back that same day. So he got the plane, went up, did Whitney. He did the mountaineering route, and I guess he got exhausted and slipped and died, and they found his body 2 days later. So I got news of that, and I'm like, nope, that's it, I'm not doing it. So I'll just go back and do Whitney another time when it's not too sketchy. The folks that went up said it was pretty gnarly up there. But like I said, I don't really care, to be honest with you. I'm not a peak bagger. How's the Dirigo in the cold? That tent's been doing awesome. I have no complaints about that tent whatsoever. It's been doing really good. Even when it's cold, I keep the window doors open because I got them all layered up and no condensation. When I keep both those closed, yeah, you get a little condensation, just single wall tent, but I've been very pleased with that tent so far. Sets up really fast, and I've set it up in some weird locations so far. What made you get sober, and how does hiking help keep you clean? I didn't want to die. That's why I got sober. I was on my deathbed, and I'd been put in the hospital like twice in the past for alcohol. And I just woke up the day after my birthday 5 years ago and said I'm done. And then I went and after a while I went and bought a mountain bike and started hiking around Montana, and that kept me sober. So that's why I've been doing it for the past 5 years. But I think if I stopped hiking today or tomorrow, I would still be sober, just because I know how to deal with it now. I wrote Hyperlite until you shoot some money. Hyperlite hooks me up with gear. That's plenty. They don't have to pay me. They hook me up with gear. That's all I need. When are you taking your dog hiking again? As soon as I get home from the trail, man. I miss little Roscoe. He's doing good though. You hitched with any more religious people since the hitch I got into Bishop here? This woman was Looney Tunes, man. I was in the car with like 3 other hikers. She was one of those people, like, she acted like she had never seen a human being in like 10 years, and she just and it was just annoying. It was a very long hitch. That was bad. Hasn't been too hard getting hitches around here though. It works. The wilderness will heal you. Yes, it will. Not everybody, but it worked for me. What is your plan of action to prevent bear encounters besides bear canister? That's it. I don't even care. I don't even stash my bear can behind a tree. I'll put my bear can in my tent. I don't really care. I'm not worried about bears. To be honest with you, I don't want to have to get out of my tent in the morning and walk 75 feet to go get my bear can and my food and my coffee. I keep that shit right by my tent. Unless I'm hiking around, or if I'm camped around a lot of people, out of respect, I will go move my bear can for respect out of them. But if I'm just by myself, I don't care. How did you get from Montana to North Carolina? Well, I was still drinking in Montana. I got sober when I lived in Montana. And the town I lived in, a Whitefish, it was just a black hole of alcoholism. That's everybody just drinks there. It's a very small tourist town. And when I got sober, I'm like, okay, I should probably get out of this environment to help me. And besides that, the winters in Montana are just so long. It's just and so cold. I was ready for some warmer weather, but I still wanted the mountains because I fell in love with hiking out there. So North Carolina was a good fit because it's mild temperatures year round, and I got the Blue Ridge Mountains right in my backyard. So it was a good place to move. Although, Asheville is a very brewery pro city. There's 50 breweries in Asheville, North Carolina, and I cooked at one. But that doesn't bother me. I go out hiking instead. Florida is full of ticks. Deal with them so far? No ticks yet. Not on the PCT. I had a bunch of ticks on the AT, but none here. Auction the napkin. Are there many cigarette smokers on the trail? Yeah, quite a bit. It always shocks me. I dip all day long when I'm hiking. But yeah, there's a lot of people that smoke out here. I wouldn't be able to do that because I was a smoker for 10, 12 years. I don't think I could hike up these mountains if I was still smoking. But the people do it. How often have you been offered trail magic? It's not been a lot. A couple of instances. Early on in the desert, there's a campground, I remember. There's people cooking. There's been cases of trail magic, but it seems like I always miss it by a couple days. It's nowhere near what it's like on the AT, where you get it at basically every road crossing, especially early on. What kind of glasses you rocking? These were just given to me. Actually, I got these in Kennedy Meadows. These are Smith Optics. A YouTube subscriber said, I got some sunglasses I've been using for years. They're a good brand. Would you like to try them? I said, yeah, shoot them up to Kennedy Meadows. I'll give them a go. And I've been using them for the first section of the Sierras. I dig them. They fit really good. And they've been really helping out with the snow. So I dig them. Smith Optics. I never heard of them before. Is your camera fixed or just fixed itself? It just fixed itself. My camera is supposed to be weather resistant. And I took a slide down Baden Powell in the snow, and it got completely covered in snow. And that stopped working for 2 days. Eventually it dried out, and now it's been working fine. I'm having issues getting dust at my sensor. So I bought a cleaning kit, and I've cleaned my sensor a couple times, but you just got to keep up on that. I have a blower to clean it out. Because once in a while, you'll notice on my Instagram photos, some of them, I can't get them fixed all the time. You'll see little spots. That's the dust particles on my sensor, and I can't always fix those. So, it's just what happens on the trail. Can't prevent it completely. Where can we find your IPTAT soundtrack? I get a lot of that question. I use Epidemic Sound is where I get all my music for my videos. I pay for it. It's monthly subscription, but it allows me to monetize all my YouTube videos. So I don't think you can find those songs and stuff on iTunes or anything like that. It's all on Epidemic Sound. Have you decided on a PCT, AT, CDT tattoo yet? Yeah, I'd like to get. It's funny because I have this massive beard, right? I want to get a whole neck sleeve with Saved by Mountains, which is my Instagram handle, in the middle with a mountain scene going around my neck with Saved by Mountains right in my throat. You won't be able to see it unless I trim my beard, but I don't care. I think it'd be cool. Raining in North Carolina? Yeah, that's what I heard. And I heard Tennessee got hit with a tornado a couple days ago. Crazy. Well, everybody's all right back there. There was a hurricane coming towards North Carolina when I was on the AT. And that one luckily missed. It hit the coast, but not where I live. Crazy. Any problems with your stove at altitude? That's a good question. I thought I would. I think the boil times are a little bit longer, but that Crux Light stove I'm using, I haven't had a problem with it going out in the wind or anything like that. I think it just might take a little bit longer at altitude to boil water, but it hasn't been an issue. I carry the big fuel cans, especially on these longer stretches, because I fear running out and not having my hot coffee. So I carry plenty of fuel. But no, that Crux Light stove has been working out well. I'm very happy with it. Tune-wise, thanks for Mikey Classic and his Lonesome Spur. Yeah, goddamn Gallows. I've been listening to those guys for years. I used to party with them in Detroit. They're good dudes. Have I been okay on hydration? Yeah, ever since I got heat exhaustion, I started drinking more water. That was just stupid. I wasn't drinking enough water when I was hiking. Real stupid. I have a bad habit of that. I always have. What should one train physically wise to get to? Sorry, I lost the chat. To get from 10-mile days to 20-mile days, you just keep hiking. You know, there's plenty of people that started on the AT. They did 7, 8 miles the first day. You just keep hiking, and your muscles will adapt and get better at it. That's why I didn't start out doing 20s in the desert. Yeah, that's stupid. People do that and then you end up getting injured. I did 15 miles a day the first day. I got another note. Yep. You're welcome. This note's better. It says, thank you for sharing your amazing story on getting sober and becoming an adventurer, if that is a word. This is the same woman that was sitting over there and telling me to watch my language. So, I don't appreciate you eavesdropping on my podcast here, miss. Why don't you go subscribe to my YouTube channel? Sorry, interruptions. Fucking up productions, man. What capacity fuel do you use, and how many days does it work? I use the big can. What is it? 220 grams. I can't remember. The big cans. Through the desert, I use the small ones, so I was shorter between towns. But for these longer Sierra sections, I carry the big cans, and I get like. I didn't quite go through that big can. I probably still had a quarter of it left after that 7.5 days. And I generally use my stove twice a day, sometimes 3. Coffee in the morning, cook my dinner, and then sometimes I'll do hot chocolate at night right before I go to bed, something hot to drink. So sometimes 3, usually just twice a day. So generally, I could probably get like 10 days. I want those big cans. Aside from blisters, any foot problems? I got a couple like small blisters, but they haven't been an issue on the sides of my feet. But I didn't even notice them really. But no feet issues. My big toe on my left foot was black for like the whole desert section. But the first week of the desert, I stubbed that same toe like every single day, multiple times a day, and it just turned black. And I thought I was going to lose the toenail, but I never did. It just hurt. I constantly stubbed that same toe every single day. How many people got in here? 200? It's a good turnout, man. The last segment I completed, would it be safe to do with a dog or 2? I wouldn't. I would never bring Roscoe through that. The river crossings are getting bad. I've had to do 3 pretty significant ones up to this point, which I did by myself. Well, 2 of them I did by myself. The third one I crossed a log with a group. I wouldn't bring my dog. No way in hell. I've only seen one group of people, or 2 people out here, a couple, that was with their dog, and I don't even think they were through it. I think they were doing a long section. But no, it's too dangerous this year. I would never put my dog through that. Oldest person you have seen on the trail? Probably in their 60s. A lot of 50, 60-year-olds out here. More power to them, man. That's awesome. And I met a kid at, you guys, well, you didn't see the video. The video I did with Lint in Hiker Town, there was a kid we were hanging out with. I didn't put him on video. He didn't want to be, but his trail name was Kid Menu. He's 15 years old, and he makes his own gear, and his pack, his base weight was 4.5 pounds. Insane, 15-year-old kid, and he makes all his own gear. I'll give him a plug. His gear company is Little River Backpacks. Look him up. He's just getting started, but he's making production all by himself. It's awesome. You changed shoes for the snow, or you're still using trail runners? I'm using the Ultra Mids, the Lone Peak Mids 4.0s, and then I bought all my 3.5s in advance for the trail, so when I finish the Sierras, I'll go back to using my Ultra Lone Peak 3.5s. I have like 3 more pair on deck ready to go to have them shipped up. What size pack are you using? The Wind Rider 3400 Hyperlight. Same pack I carried on the AT, except on the AT I carried the white version. This year I'm carrying the black. Any IB Tet merch? Yeah, I sold merch after I got on with the AT. I'll do that again. I just can't do it. I'm a one-man band, so I do all of myself. I'll get more merch after I get done with the PCT and throw that up and sell it. Helps fund my hiking habit. Stickers and shirts and maybe coffee mugs and all that good shit. Would it help to use waterproof socks for the trail runners in the snow? You know, I thought about using like the neoprene socks like fly fishermen use, that kind of stuff. It won't keep your feet from being wet, but at least it'll keep them warm and wet. A lot of times, if my socks are wet at the end of the day, this past stretch, I would just throw my wet socks in a Ziploc and put it at the bottom of my quilt. So at least in the morning, they wouldn't be frozen. They'll still be wet, but they'll be wet and warm, you know what I mean? So, but crossing rivers would be nice. Just to keep your feet warm, because that water is cold. I mean, it's just snow melt water. Watch your language t-shirts. People are so offended by that. It boggles my mind. I can understand if there's kids around, but that woman was probably in her 30s. Have you considered doing a video teaching hikers how to do better film their hikes? You are becoming a standard. Well, thank you. That's a good idea. I never thought about that. I mean, on the AT, I remember giving a few tips here and there as I was hiking that I just, discovered myself. But yeah, that's a good idea. I might do that for sure when I get home. You are going for the Popcorn Sutton look? Popcorn Sutton. I love that dude. I almost got a Popcorn Sutton portrait tattoo one time. That he was awesome. He lived in my stopping grounds, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, very close to where I live. I get comments that my beard is becoming its own entity out here. I get comments on it every day. I forgot what my face looks like. Let's see. I know you got your I Love Hiking hat on the AT. Have you been scouting around for the PCT placement? I'm sorry, I lost the chat. Hang on one second. Replacement or some other PCT specific gear. Well, I have a pin. Let me see. I got the PCT pin. Somebody sent me that before I hit the trail, and I got this while I was on the AT. So I think it's the same company that makes these pins. This is a PCT pin I'm wearing. But this hat is becoming my look, so I have to wear it now. I mean, it's comfortable. I love it. Please do some sort of video on your video techniques. Okay, I will. I will for sure. If you guys are interested in that, I will do that. Have you run into any more wildlife on the PCT or the AT? Well, the AT was all bears, a lot of deer, turkeys, and things like that. On the PCT, marmots and your typical squirrels and rabbits, especially in the desert, there's a lot of rabbits, snakes, and I was going down to a water source. My second day in the Sierras, I'd go like a half mile off trail to go get this water. And I'm down there filling up my water, and as I was refilling my water bottle, I kind of looked up, and I saw the ass end of an animal running away. It looked like a mountain lion. I didn't say for sure. I didn't say it on the video because I wasn't sure, but it looked like a mountain lion, and it just took off the hill, and I lost sight of it. All I saw was his butt running away. It definitely wasn't a deer. But it looked like it could have been the size of a good-sized mountain lion. And I saw one deer on the PCT. That's it. Ever considered doing documentary films with your talent? Yeah, I'm trying to. That's why I wanted to keep buying SD cards and have all that raw footage. Whereas like last year, I used my iPhone for a lot of the trail, and I had to keep deleting footage off my phone to make room. This year, I'm just buying new SD cards, which I'm burning through a lot. I've already gone through like 4 128 gig cards and like 2 64 gigabyte cards, and I'm not even halfway done yet. I'm saving all this raw footage so that when I get home, I can take all this raw footage and have it to re-edit into some sort of documentary 2-hour film that you guys can watch and enjoy from the whole trail. Have you watched Dixie's video today? No, I heard she was going out to do like, what is it, Northern California, where the fire closures were last year. I don't have time to watch any hiking videos while I'm out here. It's just, I hike and I make my own videos. That's all I have time for. So I haven't watched any videos while I've been out. Occasionally I'll watch the Nightcrawler videos just because that guy cracks me up. You're using the same Sawyer squeeze as you did in the AT. Yep, the same exact one. And it's becoming, I almost considered buying a new one here in Bishop. There's a couple outfitters because, I've already used it for a through hike and I'm almost halfway on this one. So it's about at the end of the line, I think. I have to back flush it all the time. And when I used it the other day before I got into town, it was basically like a Sawyer mini. It was just like a mini trickle. I back flushed it here in town this morning. So we'll give it a shot for this section. If it's still plugging up all day long, then I'll just buy a new one in Mammoth Lake. Favorite trail smell? Campfires, but I haven't had a single fire on the PCT yet. Well, a lot of the sections you can't have campfires, especially here in the Sierra. In the desert, you don't want to be starting fires out there for sure. And it's too hot for a fire anyway. But yeah, that campfire smell, that's what I miss. One of the main things I miss about from the AT is we had a campfire like 3-4 nights a week in the shelters. It was awesome. Nothing beats a campfire smell, especially after a long day of hiking. Why did you skip Whitney, the weather? No, I was just scared shitless about it. I'm not comfortable with snow. I'm not comfortable with heights. You put those two together, and I did not feel comfortable about doing it straight up. So I skipped it. I don't feel guilty about it. It wasn't on the PCT. If it was on the PCT, I would have done it. But it's a side trail, so I didn't feel guilty about not doing it. And, coming up on this section, we got a bunch of gnarly river crossings. And people are making it through, but it's sketch as hell. And I know Andrew Skirka did a blog post recently on alternates for these river crossings. And I would not feel guilty in the slightest doing an alternate route to get around some of these river crossings because the snow is melting fast, and the ones I've done already were nothing like the ones I have coming up, and those ones were bad. I lost my footing on one of them a few days ago and lost my crock in the water. It floated down the stream. Lucky it wasn't me, but yeah, that was like up to my knees. Some of these are up to your waist, up to your chest. Guy died on Whitney a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that was explained earlier. That's why that sealed the deal of me not doing Whitney. I just caught news 2 days before that of that guy dying up there, and I said, yep, that's it. Not worth it to me. Not doing it. What's your next hike after the PCT? CDT, but I originally wanted to do them back to back to back. I don't know yet. I might take a year off. I haven't decided yet. I feel so bad about leaving Roscoe at home. This is the second year in a row, and that's my son, and I miss hiking with him. So I'm strongly considering taking next year off just so I can hike with Roscoe all year long around North Carolina and Tennessee and Virginia and stuff, because I owe it to that little guy. He helped save my life, so I owe it to him to be home. So I'm considering taking next year off and then doing the CDT the following year after that. What is the tat on your ring finger? It's a boot print. Let's see if you can see. Got a hiking guy there, boot print there, got a compass there, fire there, and this one says hike and that. You have a year's worth of SD cards to get you through anyway. I have to keep buying more. It's not cheap, and these cards are like $50, $60, $70 a piece, and I've already burned through, I think I've gone through 6 or 7 SD cards. And I'm not even halfway through the trail yet. It's a lot of footage I film every day, from morning till night. Adds up quick, and then I shoot in raw images, so those take up more space. I don't shoot in 4K, luckily, but still, as much as I film on a daily basis and every single day, it adds up. Would you be considered being a ridge runner? Nah, I don't. Every ridge runner I met in the AT seemed miserable to me. It doesn't seem fun. Doing the same section back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I don't want that. I thought it was 2 pine cones. Yeah, it kind of looks like 2 pine cones. That's a boot print. My knuckle tattoos are the most recent ones, but they're already faded because I'm a line cook and I wear gloves all day long, so it's kind of affected my knuckles. RAW is the only way to shoot, just my opinion. I agree. Yeah, RAW, you can always save an image a lot easier when you're shooting RAW than JPEG. Sometimes I'll use JPEG. Like my camera has Wi-Fi capabilities, so I can transfer a JPEG image from my camera to my phone instantaneously, like that. So if I just want to throw a quick picture up on Instagram, I can do that. But generally, I wait till I get in my tent, edit in RAW, and then I'll post it when I get signal. A lot of people thought I was dead this past week because I post every day on Instagram and I hadn't posted. I didn't have a cell signal the entire time I was in the first week of Sierras. The whole 86 miles, I didn't have a cell signal. So a lot of people thought I was dead. Have an idea. Wait, have an idea on your next bigger hike, or just focusing on the PCT for now? Well, obviously, I just focus on the PCT for now, but CDT is eventually on the list. That was my original goal, was to finish the Triple Crown, so I will do that eventually. I bet no signal was a blessing, though. Yeah, it was. Getting away from social media, because I'm very active in social media, at least for Instagram and obviously YouTube. It was nice to get off that, and I still have to edit it every night, so I felt like I was working. But yeah, just not have to look at your phone and stuff. It was nice just laying in my tent, listening to the nature and stuff, and looking at the views. I liked it. It'll probably be the same case coming up this next week. So if you guys don't hear from me on Instagram, that's why. I'm up in the above 11,000 feet, and there's no cell signals up there in the Sierras. How's the vacation going? Love your videos, brother. Thank you. Well, vacation is always awesome. Not working for a living is nice. I will tell you, though, that the Sierras have been a lot more stressful than I thought, just because of the conditions this year. Whereas on the AT, you just hike every day. It's just on vacation. You just hike, and you don't think about shit. Here, you have to do a little more planning. You have to set up to do these mountain passes early in the morning. So you have to get to a certain location so you can do it early in the morning. And you're thinking about Forster, thinking about Whitney, thinking about these river crossings. It's very stressful at times. So I haven't been as relaxed as I thought I would have, but the views out here have been spectacular for sure. It's just I'm a little more stressed than normal hiking because my life is in danger a lot of the times out here. Are you back on trail tomorrow? Yep. I zeroed today. I got into town yesterday around noon. Got all my laundry and stuff done, videos uploaded yesterday, and then I took zero today. All I did today was I went to Denny's for breakfast, and then I went to where did I go? I went to Vaughn's down the road to resupply. I had extra food in Kennedy Meadows when I had a resupply box sent there from a subscriber. She had sent like 2 weeks worth of food, so I shipped the box up here to Bishop. So I had some food waiting for me, but it wasn't enough for this long stretch ahead. So I had to go resupply and get some food, but I'm all caught up. So just going to relax and probably go get some pizza later tonight for dinner. Pizza or barbecue, I haven't decided yet. There's a lot of good options here in Bishop. What was the best sunrise, best sunset? Well, I always say the best sunset and sunrise is the one you're currently at. But the sunrise coming up over Forster, I got up to Forster just as the sun was rising, basically, and seeing the backside. Actually, when I got to the top of Forster, looking down, the sun was coming up. The sun hitting the snow was gorgeous. That walk down was pretty sketchy, but it was pretty. You vote barbecue. Okay, I haven't had barbecue on the trail yet. Mostly burgers and Mexican food. Do I lose weight or on the trail or gain? I don't know. I don't weigh myself. I weighed myself a couple times on the AT, and actually on the AT I only lost 5 pounds. I don't know about this trail so far. I just try to eat my ass off as much as I can. You and Jabba, the Hiking Viking, should do a collaboration in the future. That asshole. Me and Jabba had a little, I don't know, I wouldn't say battle, but it was funny. We had this thing going back and forth last year because I've told the story before, but his good friend that he grew up with in Pennsylvania, she lives in Vermont now. And I actually ended up staying with her for 2 days in Vermont when I rolled through there, and she cooked me a steak and shrimp dinner, and he didn't like that very much. I bullshitted with him at trail days in Damascus, but he likes to do all this crazy, insane, like winter hiking and stuff. I'm not doing that. He can have it. The high elevation affecting exhaustion, breathing. Yeah, I have noticed that. Like the climb up Forster, I was like, I wasn't gasping for air, but you could definitely tell is a little harder to breathe out there, especially when you got all this weight on your back. Compared to, let's say, I was hiking up a mountain in the desert, it was a hell of a lot easier than doing it in the snow, obviously, and getting up at 11, 12, 13,000 feet. Yeah, it's a little, it affects your breathing for sure. At least it did for me. The desert looked tough. How did you keep? Sorry, I lost it. Give me 1 second. The desert looked tough. How did you keep the motivation? Yeah, you just put one foot in front of the other. You know, I had a lot of miserable days in the desert. I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to hike anymore. It's just stupid. In that case, I would just sit under a Joshua tree for like an hour and get in the shade and get my senses together and then keep pushing. I've taken a lot more breaks this year. Like, I do have my long lunches and stuff I enjoy, but I find myself taking a lot more shorter breaks. Like, I have no problem. I'll hike 3 miles and I'll sit down for 20 minutes and then do another 3 miles, sit down for 20 minutes. That's kind of how I've been doing things this year. Thank you for taking the time to shooting videos of your walks so we can tag along. Well, you're welcome. It is a lot of hard work. A lot of people I don't think realize how much work I put into these videos every day. That's why I get so pissed off and rant all the time when people talk shit about my videos, because it's a lot of work. I mean, hiking the trail is hard enough, let alone filming yourself doing it on a daily basis. It's a lot of work. If you take a year off and hike with Roscoe, will you make videos? Yeah, I always do YouTube videos for hiking. Yeah, for sure. If you take a weekend trip with Roscoe, yeah, I'll film that for sure. I still love making videos. That's why I originally started doing it. I know you guys love seeing Roscoe hike. That guy's a trooper. How many pairs of shoes will you go through? Well, my first pair lasted all the way to Kennedy Meadows, 702 miles. The bottoms of the tread was gone on them, but they weren't falling apart. And it's funny because the same shoes I wore in the AT only lasted 400 miles for the first pair. I got 702 out of these ones. I'll probably go through 4 pair, I'm guessing. That would leave me an extra pair because I have 3 more pair at home. Do I have a date? Hey, what's up, James? James did trail magic for me on the AT last year. James asked, do you have a date you want to be done by? Well, I mentioned earlier, by the end of September, I'd like to be done, if at all possible. Have you ever thought about doing collaborations with other YouTubers? Nah, not really. I like doing my own thing. Well, if somebody asked me to do something, I might consider doing it, but I'm not trying to look to do collaborations with anybody. Biggest change in video technique from video 1 last year to now? I'm learning my camera. My new camera, I'm learning. So like you've seen a lot of the more slow motion type panning shots and things like that. I think it adds a nice effect to it. So I've been using that a lot more this year. I think it adds to it. I try to mix it up between narrow shots, wide shots, mid shots, slow motion shots, maybe a time lapse from time to time. I try to mix all these into every single video so it keeps the video moving. What is the biggest gigabyte SD card do you use? I use the what's it called? The Extreme Pro something or other. Can't remember what makes it. ScanDisk Extreme Pros, 128 gig cards. I have a couple Sony cards that I use too. Do you have many subscribers wanting to send you drops? Yeah, quite a bit. I still have quite a list going. It helps because food costs a lot. Yeah, if you want to send me a resupply, you just hit me up on Instagram on a DM, and when the time comes that I need one, I'll shoot you the address of where I'm going to be coming up on. And yeah, it's much appreciated because food costs add up. And when I get people sending me food drops, it allows me to eat better in town for sure. Let's see. Did you meet Second Chance? No, I guess I passed him. I don't know where he's at. I actually looked. Somebody asked me about him today, and I looked up his Instagram, and the last picture he posted was like 3 days ago, and it looked like he was getting close to the Sierras. You could see the Sierras in the background, but he wasn't quite there yet. So, I think I know I passed him. I just don't know where he was. I never saw him. You think in the future drones? He flipped to Oregon. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's probably a smart move. A lot of people are flipping up north. Well, you can't really flip to Canada. It's still gnarly up there, I guess. But yeah, a lot of people are flipping up like to Ashland or something like that. I'd consider doing that for sure, but I'm gonna keep trying to go. If I become too scared and these river crossings get the best of me, then I might flip. But I want to try to go all the way through north if I can. Don't flip? Yeah, I don't want to. Trust me. But if it's the option of not feeling comfortable surviving a river crossing or flipping north, I would rather flip north. But if at all possible, I'm gonna keep going north. There's been people making it through from weeks on end now. I mean, the river's getting worse and worse every day, but there's people that are making it through. I'll go another 10 minutes, guys. How's about that? Well, I'm starting to get hungry. Been on here almost an hour. You changed my life, bro? Well, I'm glad. Hopefully for the better. Will you be at PCD days at Cascade Locks? If it times out, I'm not going to like hitch up there or anything like that, but if it times out, I would like to be there for sure. What are you going to eat for dinner? It's either pizza or barbecue. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to ask this Israeli dude I've been hiking with and see what he wants to do. Have you thought about hikes in other countries? Yeah, maybe New Zealand, or I don't know. Yeah, New Zealand was the one I was thinking of. It's becoming very popular out there. I love the United States. There's plenty of trails here to do. There's a lot of the U.S. I haven't seen yet. What is your favorite band to listen to while hiking? It's mostly bluegrass I listen to. Living in North Carolina, I'm a huge bluegrass fan. And believe it or not, there was a banjo at this hostel I'm staying at. I played it a little bit yesterday. First banjo I've seen on the PCT, that's for sure. If you don't hike next year, will you consider going to Damascus or Trail Days? So this is the idea I had, okay, right? If I do take next year off, that would be the main reason. Well, obviously Roscoe, but the reason I want to take a year off is so I can do trail magic. I got so much of it on the AT, and you go through an experience like that, you want to give back to the trail. As it becomes part of you, and I've wanted to give back to the trail ever since I did the AT. So if I was to take next year off, that's what I would do. I would start in Georgia, and I would, it's kind of like what Fresh Ground did last year. I would follow hikers up the trail, time it out 2 trail days, so then when trail days hit, I'd be there and hanging out with everybody and just help out hikers all the way up. That's what I would really like to do. I want to be the guy sitting at the road crossing with 100 hot dogs, cooking, giving out soda and beer for other hikers. I want to do that really bad. So that's why, along with Roscoe, I would like to take a year off just to do that. How many tats do you got? I don't know. I lost count. One big one. Fresh Ground is legend. Yeah, I never got to see him. I never saw Fresh Ground. He was always jumping ahead of me. Yeah, he did really good for the trail last year, for sure. Have I thought about going ultralight? You always think about it. You see guys with like 20-pound packs, and you're jealous. But I have a lot of ultralight. All the ultralight gear. I have an enlightenment equipment quilt. I have a hyperlight tent. I have a hyperlight pack. I have all the ultralight stuff, but my camera gear weighs me down. My electronics weigh me down. My electronic bag with my iPad, my camera, battery banks, which I'm carrying an extra one for the Sierras, it weighs like 6 pounds. So I don't think I'll ever be ultralight as long as I'm videoing myself. If I took out the camera gear, I'd be maybe not ultralight, but I'd be very lightweight. You and Roscoe doing trail magic would be awesome. Yeah, I'll bring Roscoe. Will be right there with me. All right, couple more questions, guys. Base weight besides camera gear. My base weight without camera gear is probably around 14 pounds. 14, 15 pounds, I would guess. Just curious, how do people do a 6-pound base weight? You live very uncomfortably at night. Sleeping on one of those 1/4-inch foam pads? No, I got a big Thermarest pad, man. I love sleeping on that thing. It says you're giving up comfortable, luxuries, I guess. Giving back is so awesome. I 100% agree. And you feel guilty after you get done with the AT. I did. I've been wanting to give back to the Appalachian Trail because no matter what trail I do from here on out, the Appalachian Trail will always be, it's a part of me. I feel so connected to that trail. And that's where I fell in love with hiking to begin with, really, when I moved to North Carolina. So I want to give back to that trail and all the people involved with it. It tugs at your heartstrings when you meet people like Miss Janet, and it's awesome. It's an unbelievable community. And not to say the PCT or the CDT is not special like that, but there's just something about the Appalachian Trail that it gets inside of you. It's awesome. All right, guys. I guess that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my 0 day and go hit up this Israeli dude. He's pretty funny. I think I got him in the video yesterday. He's pretty cool. We're going to go grab some dinner, and then I'm going to go back to the hostel and relax, and we'll be back on trail probably tomorrow afternoon. So if you don't see me on Instagram active the next week, just know I got like a 8, 9, maybe 10-day stretch coming up before I get to Mammoth Lake. So that's where I've been. All right, fuckers. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching the videos as always. Appreciate it. We'll holler at you motherfuckers next time, man.